Hello, you're listening to EP Culture Beat, the underground source of El Paso, Texas. Our guest for this episode is singer-songwriter Billi Free. She's based in New Mexico and has been embraced by the El Paso music scene. In this interview, we discuss her budding career and her soulful sound. How's it going, dude? How are you?
Everything's well, thank you.
Your music is soulful and positive. How'd you come upon that sound?
I think just going through the journey of life and trying to be positive and trying to live my life to the fullest, trying to live my best life. I think that generates this idea of soul or being soulful, and it comes very easy. So it's something that I don't have to put a lot of effort towards. It's not a gimmick. It's not something that I have to, invent or create. There is invention and creation in my style, but for the most part, I just try to be myself and be authentic. And I think that translates well to the audience.
That's funny that you say that, because when I was listening to your music, I was thinking of words to describe it, and I felt that the word authentic came up a lot in my head, but I felt it was too cliche. But you hit on it right now. Is it important for musicians and for just artists in general to have a sense of authenticity?
Singing and performing is much like acting, and so if you are performing under a gimmick that is not yourself, then you should use yourself to make sure that your gimmick is coming across as well as it can. But as far as the day-to-day, every day in an artist's life, the artist off the stage, I do think that it's very important to be authentic and to learn yourself and learn your surroundings and your environment and to be able to navigate your world properly.
You're a New Mexico musician. What's that scene like?
New Mexico, it's pretty much performing in Las Cruces and Albuquerque, but I'm 4 hours away from Albuquerque. It's actually easier for me to get to Tucson, Arizona, and El Paso, Texas, which is why you see me a lot. The scene is good. I think it depends on what scene you're talking about. I see a lot of visual art, painting, a lot of that coming through in New Mexico. I haven't spent a lot of time in Albuquerque, but I have performed a few times over the last couple of years. They're very big into hip hop and social justice, I feel. But yeah, I think that's one of the draws for me as a person to be in New Mexico, and the place where I am is actually easier to get to another state and within my state. So I like to represent the region, the Southwest region, more than I like to represent a particular state.
You released a new song recently. How long did that take?
That song was written in 2015, I believe.
And what was it called?
It's called Love, Music, and Salad. The beat was made by Late Night Loki, based out of New Mexico. It was recorded, mixed and mastered in Tucson, Arizona via a studio, Ingle Studio. And then if you check out the artwork was done by a guy, Textbook. He's also a musician, but also a graphic artist, and he operates out of Indiana.
Took you a couple of years in?
I imagine it took me more like a couple of days to write the whole thing, maybe at max a week. But what happens with songs is that you have to find, if you're going to record it yourself, you have to be happy with the recording. Recording with someone else, you have to be happy with their recording and work with their scheduling. That's really why a lot of my songs were written years ago, but are just now coming to light because I've gotten a chance to perform it, or I've become comfortable with performing it. It really doesn't take me long to write, but as I get into my music career more, I see how much time and effort and money and strategizing it takes to actually bring a song or an EP or an album to completion.
How often are you making new music?
I'd say often, at least every month, I receive a beat or I create a beat. I get into these modes where for like a whole week, I'll like sit down at the computer and make beats, make like 3 or 4 beats a day. But I'm always practicing, I'm always rehearsing, because I'm a working musician and I'm a performing musician. I'm always creating new ways to engage with an audience or new stories to tell.
What are you currently working on?
I'm currently working/waiting on an EP called Conjure. It's a collaborative project with a homie from Chicago, Uncle L. It's like a 22-minute EP with like 7 songs, but it blew me away when I wrote it. A lot of people who have heard it are very excited about it. So now, again, as we discussed before about bringing something to fruition, getting the artwork, getting the mastering done, making sure that, you know, distribution is right, and we're working with an independent label. So just communicating and waiting on everybody else's schedule. So that's what I'm working on now. I've got a couple of other EPs in the works. If a producer that I like sends me a beat and I'm feeling it, I'll write to it. So I'm just currently in writing and waiting mode.
You're very busy.
I try to stay busy.
Yeah.
That's the only way to, you know, move forward, I feel, in this career and in the region that I'm in too. I love this area. They call New Mexico the land of mañana, so things work a little slower, which for me is to my advantage, because I can be working, and then before you know it, I've got things waiting to bloom or waiting to come out.
You're planting seeds.
Yeah, I'm like doing this like weird time warp, like time travel, and I'm like really digging it right now. I'm really getting to a groove right now.
You've been embraced by the El Paso music and art scene. You've been on some podcasts. You've been doing a lot of local shows. Why do you think the El Paso area loves you so much?
Because El Paso knows what's up.
Yeah.
Chuco Town. I feel a lot of love for this city, and I think that for me as a performer, it radiates. I feel that performers take the energy that a crowd has, processes it, and gives it back. I feel that exchange between El Paso audiences and myself. El Paso is just known for being an authentic city, you know, being a city where you are considered a big city, right? But you still have that hometown feel.
Right.
And, you know, as things progress and develop, I don't think that that's going to change about this place. I don't know, maybe it's the proximity to the mountain, maybe it's a proximity to Mexico, maybe it's just the area with which you're in the Southwest, but it's like worldly with a hometown vibe, and I vibe with that. So I think that that's felt mutually.
Cool. What's your ultimate goal as a recording artist?
Shoot, I want to make a livelihood. I want to keep creating at my pace. I want to have my art fuel my home life, and my home life fuel my art. And, you know, home as in where I lay my head, but also friends and family and, you know, any other work that I do. I want there to be a good synergy. I feel I would like to get my voice and what I say out to a larger crowd, because I think that is translatable. I'd like to go on like tour, like getting paid tour. That's one of the things that I look forward to, and I feel that it's gonna happen. It just has to be all the right pieces. I've spent a lot of time chasing things that weren't necessarily meant for me, and the things that were meant for me, they just kind of drop in your lap. So it's again like this waiting, this being patient game.
How does El Paso inspire you?
El Paso inspires me because there's so much art here. I mean, even being in New Mexico, but being connected through, you know, the internet and social media, like every night there's a show, you know, and that for me, that calls back being in Chicago, which is where I spent a lot of my time and grew up musically, where there was a show every night where you could go somewhere and there'd be a poetry open mic, or there'd be a rock show, or there'd be a hip hop show. There are people in El Paso in the scene that are just very good connectors. Everybody's out to achieve something, right? And I do think people should be out for themselves, but there are those that I see in the El Paso music scene that see it big picture. They're out for themselves, but they're also out to assist other people and showing their work and their arts to a larger audience. Visionaries, definitely. I love that the El Paso art scene seems very young and vibrant, and there are new things being created and new connections being made. And I love to see that with myself, and then, you know, just observing other folks. Yeah, I have a lot of respect for people here. People just seem very focused in their art. They have their lane, and they're just trying to make their lane like as good as possible. Everybody pretty much gets along, and I dig that. So those are just a few things that I really love about El Paso and the culture here.
Where can people find your music?
You can find my music at Bandcamp, Abilifree, ABILLIFREE.bandcamp.com. I'm on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/ABILLIFREE. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and then my website is just abilifree.com. And so that's like a jumping spot to like all the other stuff on the internet.
Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Now, let's chill out to A. Billi Free's song, Love, Music, and Salad.
Late night Loki drops and steady like my Gensel drops. Veggies slice, dice, chop, slice. End up with something hefty. Butter, romaine, and dive. Green leaf, radicchio. Spin it round to dry. Arugula, feeling flicky, yo. Fresh green lettuce. I'll never let it go. Mixed green space for this upcoming combo. I'm ranking official up the Condo clan. Take it daily. Good cholesterol. Elongate my lifespan. Don't need the reason. Conventional or organic depends on funds for the season. Or the land that I'm seeding. Incredible, edible, crispy bell pepper, high stepper, cucumber. Never forget to vine ripe and purple. Aroma tomate, heirloom hydroponic, garden fresh. I'm on it. Slush on the my stock. I like it cold, but some like it hot. I love sodium pop. Introducing beta carotene on the scene. Eyes turn to laser beam. Watch the darkness flee. Choice of cheese opiate, like morphine. Make me think I don't want, but I need. Cranberries and sunflower seeds. Sugar snap peas. Imbue me with mind speed. Almost ready to feed. Pour the crouton crunch. Pack the power punch. I'm ready anytime. Breakfast, dinner, or lunch. Couldn't be a proper session without the blessing. Tahini goodness. How the creamy got this dressing. Ayurvedic color medicine. Culinary Bedouin. Health is wealth is when. Take stock in my food. Technique never lose. You can always have your salad and eat it too. You can always have your salad and eat it too. Love, music and salad, the best things in life. Love, music and salad, the best things in life. Love, music and salad, the best things in life. Love, music and salad, the best things in life. The salad, 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 the salad.
That's the end of our show. Thank you for listening. Remember, you can find this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, Buzzsprout, and Stitcher Radio. Be good to each other and party on.